Ever heard of a war that started because of an apple? Yeah, not just any apple, a golden one that literally said, "For the fairest." That one little fruit set off one of the bloodiest, most dramatic, and honestly pettiest wars in ancient history. The Trojan War. But here's the thing. The real story behind the Trojan War. It's not exactly what your high school textbook made it out to be. And spoiler alert, it might not have even happened the way we think it did. So grab a snack, because we're diving into the chaos, the myths, the legends, and the truth behind one of the most famous conflicts ever told. Okay, picture this. Ancient Greece, gods are basically celebrities. Mortals, just trying not to get turned into animals or statues. And somewhere up in Olympus, a wedding is going down, the marriage of Peleus and Thetis. Everyone's invited, except one goddess, Eris, the goddess of discord. Big mistake. Eris crashes the party anyway, total wedding crasher vibes, and tosses that golden apple onto the banquet table. Written on it, "For the fairest." That's all it takes. Immediately, 3 goddesses claim it, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. And of course, they don't exactly settle it peacefully. They need a judge, someone impartial. And who better than a random shepherd boy named Paris, who just so happens to be a prince of Troy. Now, this is where things get wild. Each goddess bribes him. Hera offers him power. Athena offers wisdom and victory in battle. But Aphrodite, she offers the most beautiful woman in the world. And Paris, being a guy in his 20s, with the emotional depth of a clay pot, chooses Aphrodite. Only problem, that most beautiful woman is already married to King Menelaus of Sparta. Her name, Helen. So, with Aphrodite's help, Paris travels to Sparta, meets Helen, and depending on which version you believe, either kidnaps her or she runs away willingly. Either way, when Menelaus finds out, he's furious. And just like that, every Greek king who once swore to protect Helen joins forces under Menelaus and his brother Agamemnon. Boom. The Greeks set sail for Troy. And that's how the Trojan War begins. But here's where history and myth start to blur. The stories we know come mostly from Homer's Iliad, written centuries later. And the Iliad doesn't even tell the whole war. Just a few weeks in the 10th year of fighting. It's packed with legends. Achilles, the near-invincible warrior with a bad attitude. Hector, the noble Trojan prince. And of course, the gods, constantly picking sides and making everything 10 times worse. But the question is, did any of this actually happen? Archaeologists believe there was a real city of Troy. It's been discovered in modern-day Turkey. Layers of ruins suggest it was destroyed around 1200 BCE, roughly when the Trojan War was said to happen. So maybe, just maybe, there was a real conflict. But it probably wasn't about love, apples, or jealous goddesses. More likely, it was about trade routes, power, and control. You know, the usual human stuff. Still, the myth stuck, because it's not really about history. It's about pride, honor, and what people will do when they're caught between love and loyalty. Fast forward to year 10 of the war. Everyone's tired. Achilles is sulking in his tent after a fight with Agamemnon. The Greeks can't win without him. Hector's leading the Trojans like a boss. Then Achilles' best friend Patroclus takes his armor, goes into battle, and gets killed by Hector. That snaps Achilles out of his rage spiral. He returns to battle, kills Hector in a brutal duel, and drags his body around the city walls. It's harsh, but it's also one of the most human moments in the story, because afterwards, Hector's father, old King Priam, sneaks into the Greek camp, kneels before Achilles, and begs for his son's body. Achilles, for once, shows mercy. It's raw, emotional. The war slows, and that's actually where Homer's Iliad ends. But the legend doesn't stop there. You know what comes next? The trick that ended it all. The Trojan Horse. The Greeks pretend to give up, leaving behind a massive wooden horse as an offering. The Trojans, thinking they've won, drag it into the city. That night, Greek soldiers hidden inside sneak out, open the gates, and Troy burns. Iconic ending. But here's the kicker. The Trojan Horse doesn't even appear in the Iliad. It's from later myths. Some historians think it might have been a metaphor, like maybe the horse was a siege weapon or a ship. Either way, it's one of the most famous gotcha moments in storytelling. So what's the real story behind the Trojan War? It's a mix, myth and memory tangled together. Maybe there was a war, maybe there was a Helen, but what really survived wasn't the facts. It was the story, the drama, the poetry. Because the Trojan War isn't just about gods and heroes. It's about obsession, about pride, about how far people will go for beauty, revenge, or glory. And that's why, even 3,000 years later, we're still talking about it. So next time someone mentions the Trojan War, remember, it's more than just a tale of love and betrayal. It's a mirror, showing us that even the greatest heroes were still human. Thanks for watching, my friend. If you enjoyed this dive into ancient chaos, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know what legend you want unraveled next. Because trust me, history has way more plot twists than Netflix.